There we go.
Okay, great. Let's call the meeting to order. Go to again.
6:02. All right. Amanda Houston.
Here.
Julia Kitely.
Here.
Sheree Atkins.
Here.
Jessica Hopkins Hubbard. Not yet. Leslie Smithstad.
Yes.
Here.
Yes. And our library, our student commissioner position is still open.
Why?
Great question. We'll get to that in a minute. And I'm the library director, Corey Burkle.
All right, moving on to accept the consent calendar.
Make a motion to accept the consent calendar as presented.
I will second.
Great. Any public comments?
No public comments.
Board comments?
As always, they were adorable.
Oh my gosh, aren't they so cute?
I love the new street sweeper.
I do
That
too.
was the one I
Yeah.
I drove down my street the other day.
Mine
I
too.
saw it in action.
Yeah,
I like it's just as being recorded for these people don't star.
I know. It was very sweet.
Okay, sorry. We're moving on to reports, library foundation report.
All right, no library foundation report. We haven't met since we last met. For library director's report, things are going well. Let me move this over to the other side. So this is what's behind the curtain. So there's still, stuff all over the floors and that kind of stuff. But we specifically chose stalls and toilets and other things that were very easy to clean and that were hard to vandalize. So, which women's bathroom, that hasn't really been an issue, but men's bathroom, it's very much been an issue. So, so there's that. We've got our new water faucet, which I'm super excited about because you can fill your water bottle.
See that?
I will say it was like $5,000 more if I wanted to do the to have it very cold. So I didn't do that. It's like I can't spend that much money just for cold water, but not on the city's budget. But anyway, it is relatively cold, I think. Not icy cold, but whatever.
I think you can
Yeah,
fill your water bottle.
Yeah.
Because even just people walking around downtown and whatnot can
Right?
stop in and fill the
Yeah.
water bottle.
It was a
That's
really
great.
long time coming. So as you can probably see the top, so there's this that's gone over the walls, and then at the top, the border is still the brick from before. So that'll get cleaned up a little bit more, and we're going to clean up the lights. But it is pretty close. It's pretty close to being done. So it's exciting. We're still on target for the end of March. I know the little things seem to take the longest in the end. So I'm not really thinking it's going to be before the end of March, but we still are on time. So it's great. Yeah. We've just had a lot of programs. We have a spring break program. We have some spring break programs coming up next week. We have a Spirit Week. So there's little fun challenges, which people are getting very into and really love those. So we're doing that for next week. We have a Wacky Wednesday coming up on April 1st. We decided since April 1st was also a story time day, we were going to do Wacky Wednesday. So Amanda we learned this from Will, and we call it a SMEAC, and it's like basically how the project is going to go. So she wrote out a hilariously detailed, this is what Wacky Wednesday looks like. So the thing, yeah, that's pretty much all I've got. Library Friends, they have given us $35,000 to work on. We're doing some rearranging of shelving upstairs and need some additional shelving and additional panels. And we're also going to work on lighting and some of those projects too. So always more to do. Yeah. Grateful for that though. That's their yearly donation.
When is the end date for this?
The end of March.
Coming up quick.
And
Yeah.
you're gonna hit the deadline?
It looks like everything is gone really well so far. I would say I don't think we've got any like big things that all the big things are done. So now it's just all the little things that are wrapping up. So yeah, it's good. It hasn't been too smelly. It hasn't been too loud.
Yeah.
The company Paragon that we're working with has been fantastic to work with. Just really nice people, communicate really well, and it's been good.
Okay, moving on to unfinished business. Dates on strategic plan.
My update for the strategic plan is that, we will have an update for you in April.
Okay,
Sheree and I both had a very busy month and we just couldn't make that work this month. So
Yeah.
we'll be talking next. We'll be talking before our next meeting. So we're going to figure that out tonight.
moving on to new business.
New business. All right. Here is the internet use policy. Get that out of the way there. So it's been since 2019 since this was looked at. So I thought it was time.
I'm assuming there was a big jump from the 2022 version to the 2019 version, a big change.
From the 2000
Yeah.
or 2002. Yeah, I don't actually remember.
Okay. I'm just thinking just because from 2002 to 2019, the amount of
So much has
upgrades
changed,
and
right?
changes.
But I feel like a lot of the language is pretty archaic in the first paragraph, which is why I'd like to just not have the most of the first paragraph. I think it's, I mean, it's definitely language for when, available on this worldwide network,
Right,
that kind of stuff is like, okay, we all got it now.
Yeah,
Everybody knows now, right? Yeah, so just kind of cleaned up some of that language. We were looking through, I was looking through policies with my supervisory staff. We meet on Wednesday mornings once a week. And there was an incident that came up at another library where I don't think I really want to go into it.
used inappropriately.
Yeah. And so yes, that's one of the important things that got added. The other thing was that I changed just in the last iteration was the may result in a cancellation of access for a period of time consistent with the severity of the inappropriate use as decided by supervisory staff. Because I also feel like depending on how bad it is,
Right.
we might not let them back in the library using the internet, right? Right. I felt like this was definitely not enough for some of the things even some of the things we've seen, not anytime recently, but in the past, we've had a couple of particular incidences that were really awful. And that definitely
More than 7 days.
Yeah. And I do know that at the time they also were excluded from the library for longer than that. And I think you can go back to the courtesy policy too, and, look at that in conjunction with the internet use policy. So I just wanted to be a little bit more explicit about some of those things. And like the rules of conduct, we don't have that anymore. It's our courtesy policy. What we do have now, and I also included it in your packet today, was the tech help appointment agreement and procedure. And that's for when we have people who need a little bit more help than we can offer in about 15 minutes. Sometimes we're pretty busy up at the information desk. Sometimes we're not, depending on time of day, but most of the time we're too busy to spend longer than that with people. So this way we can make an appointment where we have a staff available. And we also redid that recently as well. I appreciate that people have so much trust in us, but people very willingly, they would just hand us all of their personal information without thinking twice about it. So we wanted to be more specific about we're not going to help you with your banking information, with your, like, I don't want to know anybody's passwords. I don't want, I don't want to see it.
I
Like,
can't remember my own. I
right,
can't even know yours.
exactly. So we called out setting up or changing your password because that's probably the thing that we get asked to help with the most, that we're uncomfortable with. And one of the reasons for that is that oftentimes when people come in to print things on the computer, they have to get into their email, which on their smartphone, you know, it's already set up. Their password is set up, but then they don't remember their password. And if there's dual authentication, then that can be challenging too. So we're happy to help people navigate those things, but we can't, I'm not going to type in a new password. I'm not going to, So,
Going back to the internet policy, like
yes.
does anyone have access to the computers? Does someone have to check in before they use the computers?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. So, first of all, we have free Wi-Fi, and it does turn off between, I think, 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. And we were specifically asked about that by the Newburgh Police Department several years ago now. There was a lot of shenanigans happening in the parking lot, and specifically the internet was the draw in the middle of the night. So we have that turned off in the middle of the night. I think that's helped with that. So that's not something we had thought of either. But when people want to use the computer, they can either sign on with their library card or they have a guest pass, and it's their first name, last name. And that's how they sign on to the computers.
But you have to get the guest pass from.
You have to get the guest pass from the desk. Yeah.
But so I would, if I see an open computer, I would just use my card, sit down and use it like that. I'm not checking in at the desk first.
You don't have to, no. Yeah.
Okay.
Is this policy in relation to the use of the computers or the use of the Wi-Fi? Because they're calling it the internet policy. Internet is Wi-Fi.
So there would be.
I'm using my personal computer within the library.
Right.
Yeah.
So if we were, if somebody came and said, hey, there's somebody at a computer in that back there and they're looking at pornography, we would go over and say, hey, that's not allowed in the library. I need you to make a different choice.
Okay.
And then they would either make a different choice or leave.
Right.
And if that happened again, then we'd be like, oh, looks like you're done for now, you know, depending on what's going on. So I do want to leave it open enough.
Okay.
Like if somebody's looking at something on their phone and no one else can see what it is, fantastic. Love that. I don't want to know what's on somebody's computer. So, but if it's
being done in a way that others.
Right. If it's visible to other people and it's against our courtesy policy and our internet policy, then we're going to say something about that.
How specific do you get in this? Because I guess as I'm reading through this, we're very specific in regards to the sexually explicit sites and materials. How specific do you get in something like this when it comes to, like, if somebody were to come in and search how to do a school shooting, right? Like, how specific do you get? Like, I was trying to come up, I've been sitting here and that's why I keep rereading them, is if someone is using the access to the internet to plan something harmful.
So I do think that we're able to address that so it also depends on what we can see, right? So I would say that the pornography is the most
visually
obvious,
explicit,
right?
It's
It's very
looking at explicit photos of dead bodies or something
Absolutely.
along those lines.
Then when we're looking at, so I do think that that is use of sounds and visuals, which might be disruptive or harmful to others.
Okay.
That for me is where I would say, hey, this is a public library. I'm going to need you to,
Okay, I just wanted to
depends
make sure
on
that
what
it was
the-
kind of covered because I think that there's a fine line there. If somebody could be coming in and doing research on like a paper or something like that, and they don't need to see the graphic images, and then there's others that are coming in and using that
Mhm,
information for harm. So it's
mhm.
thought police,
Mhm,
right? Like
mhm.
how far down the rabbit hole do we
Mhm.
go? type of thing.
Well, and I think
So-
the other thing that you say in here is that the library does not monitor or have control over the information accessed on the
Correct,
internet.
yeah.
Right.
We are not the thought police, but if you're doing it in such a way that other people are exposed to it, then the
Mhm.
library can intercede and say, that's not appropriate for here.
That's a good way to say that too. And I will say, like the amount of people who are using our Wi-Fi is much higher than the amount of people who are using our public computers. I mean,
yeah, I would assume because
it's-
everybody has their own devices.
Right? Which is definitely not how that looks, even in 2019, right? Even in 2019, when a lot of people had their own devices, we still had a lot more people using our computers. And we are going to be getting, I just forgot what it's called. We're getting the Wi-Fi available printing in the next fiscal year. So I'm hoping the beginning of July, sometime in July, so that people can come and say, I've got this email on my phone. How do I print this? And then it should be so much easier, which again will take care of I don't know my password, I don't know my, all of those things too. So that will help with that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Question I have around like sort of a catch-all, and I don't think you'd be able to monitor a lot of it, but would you call out just illegal activity just as its own?
I guess that's maybe,
offline,
yeah.
Standalone,
So,
because I think about cyber crimes,
Mm.
crimes,
mhm.
like that. A lot of people who do that here in the United States are using publicly available Wi-Fi to do it.
Yeah.
Not that you necessarily would see it. But
Yeah,
instead having
right.
Something in here that isn't, it's not talking about sexually explicit
Mhm.
sites or destruction of property, but it is illegal activity.
So I do say illegal acts involving library computing resources may also be subject to prosecution by local, state, and federal authorities.
Right under the courtesy policy.
But it's not listed, oh, those are just examples. So it's not an exhaustive list. I guess that's fair.
Sure. It does say include but are not limited to. But I think that's like where my mind was going with that. It's like the illegal activities of using it, and you do mention. So
I'm wondering for parents are encouraged to monitor and supervise their children's use of the internet. Is there a more strongly worded way of saying that?
and we could be more
Can
strongly
you,
word
can
that.
you say parents are required?
What if their kid is 16?
So I would say I don't really see this as the issue that it used to be in the library, and we would, the computers for children have looked really different in a lot of different ways. Our sign up for that has gone differently over the years since we started having internet computers. We have one internet computer in the children's library now because it's hardly getting any use. We used to have 3 or 4 that were used all the time. It's not getting a lot of use, but we do tell parents, there's no filters on our children's computer. And, kids are going to, most of the time it's the younger kids and they're going to PBS Kids or, whatever that is too. So
I'm just wondering more for liability, not maybe necessarily prevention for your patrons, but more protection for the library, that your making a clear,
Mhm.
insistent desire for parents to be.
But I think then you have to go back to what Cherie said about, well, at 16, does the parent have to be here all the time when the kid is using the internet? And then I would add on to that, if we start doing that, are they going to ask us to do it with the books?
Mm. Well, kids only have
Good
to be
point.
10 to be left alone in the library too.
No way. See you later, Sloan. Have fun with Corey.
But they have to be able to follow the rules. No, I'm just kidding.
I told her she
It was
could go
okay.
longer. She's 10.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Could you say parents are responsible for monitoring and supervising their children's use of the internet? That's not. Does that go too far in the direction of requiring it?
Or does that straddle the line? I almost kind of like that.
I like that too. I don't feel like
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
Yeah.
okay.
That's good with that.
And I think to the exact word point is like they're responsible for it, right?
Yeah.
Right, if
And
they don't want
we're
their
not
child doing something.
We're not assuming
Right.
the responsibility
That's right.
of it.
You want your child not to look at certain things, you are responsible for that.
Yes.
But
Guess what?
Yeah.
You're the parent,
Yeah.
not us.
Right.
And that is a tricky one sometimes too, because sometimes we'll have people who,
Yeah.
you know, their parent, well, I mean, I think there's other situations too where you have both parents are working, the kid is not doing a good job with following their rules while they're not home. And so sometimes people look to the library to be like, well, you can enforce these rules. we are not here to parent anyone's child. Like that is still your role. And I'm sorry, that's a hard situation. And also that's not something that I am able to fix for you.
Right.
So
Here are potentially some community resources.
But
Yeah.
also we like have the desire for you to be involved in your
Mhm.
children's what they're reading, what they're looking at on the internet, what they're
And
Agreed,
some
yeah,
parents are
absolutely.
going to be
Absolutely.
very involved with that. And some parents are going to say, I don't really care. And that's, so that's also a parenting choice, right?
Right.
Of how they want to do that. So yeah,
I like the rewording of it.
I like that too.
All right. Are we okay to move on? Okay, Library Advisory Board training.
Wait.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Oh, do we need to?
You will need to vote on that.
Okay.
Oh, I do. So I just want to say too that this, as you can see up here, it's also been approved by the City Council in November 2019, which means that this will, after you approve it, then it will also go to the City Council as well. So
I make a motion that we approve the revised internet policy inclusive of the changes that we just discussed.
I'll second.
thank you. All right.
Can we vote?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Okay, unanimously passes. All right, so I thought you probably know where all of this is, but just to make sure, we are going to go to, going to stop sharing the screen. I'm not going to stop sharing the screen. I'm just going to go to a different place. There we go. Okay, so I wanted to show you where agendas and minutes are available. So if you don't have something printed or whatever, you'll know where you can find these. So we're on the library's webpage. We're on the city's webpage. So it doesn't matter where in the city's webpage you are. You can go to the top under government. There's agendas and minutes. If you scroll down, there's also the meetings and events calendar, which is helpful if you're looking for any other, you always know when our meetings are, but if you're looking for other meetings around the city. And then if you scroll down here, we've also got the Library Advisory Board here. And we've got agenda, minutes, and even the video.
Ew.
Right. So as you might remember, the video for the November meeting did not work. So that's why that one is missing. I still am not exactly sure what happened with that, but well, the video actually did work. It's just that the sound did not work. So I don't know if it was on mute or what the deal was, but I made a mistake somehow. So today, since the minutes for the February meeting were approved, those will get added to the website, and then the March minutes won't get added until after you approve them in April. So they're about a month. The minutes are about a month behind, but the video goes up pretty quickly, actually, because I need that in order to create the minutes. But you can also go back fairly far and see what that is like, as well as getting to any of the other boards or commissions around the city too. So any questions about that?
Nope.
Great. All right.
It's not a question specifically on that, but because it's not like a specific line item, but it was connected to the last meeting. What's the
Oh,
update on the students?
Thank you. So the student commissioner went before the council and the mayor, and they did an interview like they usually do, like just kind of like a little mini interview. But during the meeting, the mayor said, oh, and there will be more. It sounded to me like there were going to be maybe some more candidates at the next meeting. And so they were waiting to approve them all at the same time. So before this last, it could, because there weren't any concerns with, either of the candidates. And then before this last city council meeting on Monday, I reached out to the city recorder and she said she was still waiting for the mayor to approve. So I'll follow up with her and with him, because then at the meeting, nothing was said about it. So I feel like we're kind of in limbo right now. I don't know why. So,
Have we touched base with, I'm so sorry, I'm forgetting her name right now.
Alyssa.
Alyssa, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, just so she knows kind of,
Yes.
and it's not,
It's not her.
yeah, exactly.
It's just an administrative.
Yeah. So I'm not really sure why that's taking longer than usual. So yeah. Thanks for asking. Thanks for reminding me. All right. And then my resource of the month for you is Newburgh history. So this is our Newburgh history section. Move this over here. Right. Boop. So all of these right here are the bound Newburgh graphics. We go back to almost the very beginning, but we do have the very beginning that's digitized that you can find online. So it is pretty fun. I love looking through the old papers. It is sometimes when I'm working on reference questions that require me to go back, I have to like really remember that I'm looking for a specific thing, because I could just be like, how wonderful. And, they'll be like, so-and-so came to visit from McMinnville, it's just wild to me. It's just wild. We also have Oregon Blue Books, which is interesting for a look at how things are in the state that year. We also have the Oregon Historical Society. So for some of it, I think it's like a monthly publication, and then it was so it's been different things throughout the years, but it also is a great look at Oregon history. You can find some really, really fascinating pieces in there. We have a shelf dedicated to Ewing Young. We're looking at something else as well, but I have a meeting in a couple of weeks. So we'll see if we have something to add to that by the time I talk to you guys again. We have Newburgh and Dundee, more Newburgh and Dundee specific books. We have a couple. We have one that's on French Prairie area around Champoeg, a few that are around the Champoeg. Excuse me. So I brought some things. Oh, as you can see right here too, we also have an archive of Newsburgh. So, and that was all Brandon Anderson, who runs Newsburg. That was his idea, and he's been bringing those in.
And he's been pulling like Day in the Newburgh Graphic or whatever from way back when.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
where I've seen that referenced is like those stories. It's like somebody's sister came from McMinnville, right? And you're like, oh, cool, that made it into the paper.
So sorry, my union meeting was very.
Oh, no worries. This is a so it's Ewing Young's day book. There's a lot that I cannot read in here, but it's pretty fascinating too. So I'll just pass some things around. Stories from the grubby end. George Edmonston has done my favorite pieces of Newburgh history. I think he's just a delightful writer, and I found some really interesting things in here as well. Some of the items can be checked out and some of them can't. So if it says reference on it, those are just for keeping in the library. For things like Newburgh specific history, we try to do one copy that stays in the library and one copy that checks out. And then I oftentimes have like another copy in my back pocket, basically, so just in case. But then there's also, this was compiled by, I think, Denise Riley, one of our previous librarians. And it was the stories that George Edmonston wrote for the Newburgh Graphic, which is a little bit more than what you get in just the book there too. So that was fun. We also have a lot of high school yearbooks, including mine.
Wow.
Well, yeah, this is my graduation year. I think I'm right here. We rode in on a fire truck on our first day of school. Anyway, so it's fun. We actually keep the yearbooks under lock and key because they get stolen.
Why? Yeah, great
People
question.
want their pictures.
Yeah.
Maybe? I don't know.
Why they want to destroy their pictures.
Right. I don't know, but enough people usually have donated them over the years that I've got. Yeah, I've got most of them. I think I'm actually missing a few years from 2020 on. So there's
I
that.
wonder if you could get those reprinted since they're relatively new.
What I need to do is reach out to the high school and see if they've got some extra copies
Yeah,
that I
fair.
could have or buy or whatever. This is I will tell you, I have not read this. It is also autographed by the author. And I haven't read it because you can't check it out. But this is called The Yam Hills, an Indian Romance. It is probably not appropriate. Published in McMinnville in 1904.
Oh,
So it is
so by our
very-
standards, it may be appropriate, but by their standards.
It's probably a little racist.
Well, okay. In that respect, yeah, sorry, I wasn't thinking that direct.
Yeah. Well, yes, I see what you mean. For a romance, it's probably just fine. But it is, it's pretty fascinating to me. To my good wife and her brother, Professor W.J. Stillman, for encouragement and help. So I don't know, like it was published in McMinnville, so a small press, right? But it says J.C. Cooper, author and publisher, McMinnville, Oregon. So basically, it's like a self-published book, right? Anyway, so there are some really interesting pieces like this. So we'll put that one around. And then we also have library scrapbooks that have been kept up by volunteers over the years. So that's been so we've got when the library was in the paper, we have a lot of that from the beginning. There's about 4 of them, I think. Scrapbooks. So this one is 2008 to 2024. And then there's one that one of our volunteers is currently working on too. So it's really fun to be able to look through. We had somebody come in maybe a couple of weeks ago, and or maybe longer than that now, but his dad and stepmother had volunteered at the library for a long time, and he was working with the library friends to get their name on the donor board, which they accomplished this last week. And he was able to find some pictures of his dad that he hadn't seen before, so that was really special too. So just kind of I'm not going to pass this one around because it's so big, but there's some very interesting fun stuff in here.
Are we gonna digitize that too when we do as we do the graphic?
That's a good idea. I don't know. It's my.
Or
I
is
mean,
that just,
I
you
think
should
it's
come and
so
see it in
far.
person?
Yeah, you should come and see this in person. I think it's so far beyond my scope at the moment because the graphics are going to take so long. But there's also a lot of posts. These were printed out from COVID. So there's a lot of, I did a lot of posts with staff and then a couple of our staff who graduated. This was when Amanda graduated from library school. This was celebrating 15 years of the summer reading mascot. Ruth Headley, our teens librarian, was one of the first winners of the mascot as a kid.
Yeah.
So we love that. Well, anyway, we have lots of fun stuff. We have old phone books as well, too. So sometimes we'll look up addresses for people. We were helping someone recently, and I just didn't find much information because for a lot of people, before they were delivering to addresses directly, they would just say route number so-and-so and not have the specific street address. So then you can say, well, I've got a route number, but I don't even have a map of it in the phone book to be able to tell you where that route was. Yeah. So anyway, that's it. Any questions about that? That is all I have.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry if I'm jumping
Yeah,
ahead.
but
If there's no meetings June and July, I thought it was July and August.
It is possible that I looked at that wrong. I will.
remember what we did.
I'll look at that and then I'll send an email out letting everybody know what it was for sure. Check on dates. So I think we would have set that in January usually. So I'll go back and look.
I think we even talked about it when we did the interview with Alyssa.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking that we were back in August because she's back in August for school. So I was thinking we weren't meeting June and July. Oh, great.
So let's have the June one on my calendar and don't have to let her on. So
Okay.
if that's the.
And I think we had said to her, you'll be back for it. And then once she left, we had mentioned something.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we're not gonna be here.
Yeah, actually, it was the August one.
Got it. Okay. So yes to June, no to July and August.
Yeah, because I think I
Sounds
went home,
good.
it goes on my calendar too, so, yeah.
Good. Thank you. There we go. Now there's an answer and I don't have to get back to you guys. Thank you, Sherry. Right? Love that.
Right there.
We should we should see what's in the minutes. Let's do it.
Okay. We'll check the minutes.
Great. Meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned at 6:41. And we'll stop recording. Thank you.